Tooblack, AFV. So that's the AFV. Let's see how we used to draft it. I hope you can see that. If not, pause it, put it in. Hey, bless me. Right. So that's how we used to do the AFVs. So this one goes on the gyro slip before they started getting very small, so that you can't fit all this in it. So you can't fit all of it. The wording that needs to go in is the where it starts says the second accepted for value, return for value, which is here. You can see that. Oops, sorry. Here. This one. So if necessary, just do this part only. I mean, if the gyro slip is too small and you can't fit the rest of the wording, then this is all you need. Accepted for value, return for value, exempt from levy because it's common stock, discharge all presentments and related fees and adjust the balance to zero. Why? Because this is a prepaid treasury exemption account, and you put the national insurance number for the private prepaid treasury exemption number is without the dashes. That's the private, right? So the private is giving money to the public, right? So the private is going to ask that they charge the same to, you put your strawman in all capitals corporation here, and next to it is the national insurance number with the dashes that identifies and distinguishes the difference between the two, the living and the fiction. All right, so the private prepaid exemption number does not have any dashes. The public does. The public being the straw man and the private being the man. Now the top part simply says accepted for value, returned for value, because you accept it, you endorse it, and you return it for value, and you return it for settlement. That's what the intention is. They're asking you to what are they asking for? They're asking for permission to take money out of this account so as to pay for the national debt. All you have to do is give the endorsement in the proper way so they can use it and discharge the charge. So this is the acceptance part of it. So this is not the conditional acceptance, this is the acceptance, and this is how you do accept it. Okay? Because instruments that are issued for value are issued without a precedent contract. You see, so there is no prior agreement. That's why it's called issuing for value. They're issuing it for the value, and you're accepting it for the value, because there was no prior consideration or a precedent contract upon which they should be issuing this instrument. Okay. So what you're doing is you're saying, I'm guaranteeing that this alleged debt will be settled, and I will extend the necessary credit in return for set-off. ABC. So this is why you don't argue or ignore, because you're agreeing to extend the necessary credit. Because there is no money, it's fiat currency. That is the currency that is accepted in this with this corporation or within this corporation. So the only currency you can give is your credit, which is your signature, saying that you guarantee that you're going to extend whatever necessary credit is required for discharging of this alleged liability. So that stays in red, all of this. Oh, sorry. What happened? Right, all of this stays in riggedy red. And then what you do is, then you sign in blue. Right? So sign here, and you date it in blue as well. And you place it at a 45-degree angle on the instrument. Okay? So it looks like. And then you create the letter of authority, the authorizing letter that's going to go with it, with your stamp, your acceptance for value stamp. Now, first thing, put your exemption. I used to put mine up there. So that's your exemption number, ID number. It's going to be your national insurance number. Now, this is a notice of tender. So you're tendering a notice for adjustment, set off, and discharge, because the charge can only be discharged. You cannot pay debt with debt. You need to discharge the charges, or set off the charges. And then the wording, our wording now is slightly different from this, because I'll remove all this, because it's still legal fiction. There's too many to's and froms. Notice to agent is notice to principal and all that stuff. But it's worded differently. So we word our documents in English now, but this is still good for the legal fiction world because they use this language. Right, so you put in that notice to agent is notice to principal and vice versa. Put in the date, any reference numbers you have, references, and regarding the property itself. Now, this is what the property. This was a gas bill. So this, if you're going to do it for something else, you need to adjust the wording, because this was specifically for gas bill, for domestic gas bill. If you're doing electricity, it's going to be different. If you're going to do parking, it's going to be different. If you're going to do mortgage, it's going to be different. But along the same lines, so you're going to use different bond numbers to set up different things. Okay, so I'm not going to read all that stuff. If you're interested in the wording, you can get it from there. But the first one is just a caution and attention of how they should deal with it. This is a public-private securities instrument. That's what they send you. They send you a securities instrument, and you create another securities instrument and you send it to them. That's how you do business when there is no gold and silver. It's negotiable instruments. Right, the top bit is just instructions of how to deal with this. And then the next one is, and then you carry on, whereas on the date of the or whenever you're going to send it out, receipt when you're going to send it out, an original instrument in form of money order, tender for set off. Whereas you can word it, whereas on that date is when you're tendering this notice for set off. This one was for British Gas. That's the account. What presented as follows to, and then you put British Gas, and second, two, you're gonna give one to Treasury also. So number two, it's gonna be Treasury. Well, number one really Treasury, and then number two is the alleged creditor, because the Treasury is the ones who supposedly hold the accounts. So you're going to give the Treasury the authority to pay this company from your account. That's what this is for, right? And then the enclosures are what you've enclosed in the envelope. So the enclosures in this would be the offer, request for credit. This will be your so-called statement or bill or whatever else. And then payment voucher. This would be the gyro slip, which has been endorsed properly with the stamp. So once you've endorsed them with the stamp, you make 3 copies always. One for yourself, one to Treasury, one to the alleged creditor. And now the 3 of you are on the same plane. You create number 3. You've created the triangle. Now we can do business. Okay. Now, whereas acceptance for value endorsements in my hand and on this and any other instrument is a promise, acceptance, and agreement that you put your name there, incapacity off, you put your strawman there, or you put your address, location. I'm agreeing to supply the credit necessary to fulfill the request being made by the alleged debtor in possession. And then you put in there whoever it is, right? The reason you use debtor, because you want to be the creditor, always. Because they are writing to you requesting credit. So you are the creditor. So they are the debtor in possession. Okay. What they're claiming is that they have a debt in the name of this corporation. And you, as chief executive of this corporation, it's your responsibility to make sure that that debt is cleared by creating the credit for it through your signature. Get it? Okay. Now, whereas acceptance for value, returning for settlement means I am guaranteeing that this alleged debt will be settled, and I will extend the necessary credit and return for settlement and closure of the account. Now, you must as well transmit and updated record of this account to me, reflecting a paid in full status and a zero balance within 30 days of receipt of settlement as per our contract in terms of the agreement. You're creating a contract here now, and you're telling them what to do with it. So you want notice after 30 days that alleged debt is been settled and the account balance is zero. Okay? If you do not correct any instruments and notices within 30 days after the postmark on this presentment citing a deficiency, citing a deficiency or dishonor, then it shall be deemed accepted and or approved. Now, those are the terms of the Bill of Exchange Act, that if somebody's going to refuse a negotiable instrument, they're required to cite a deficiency in the instrument or a dishonor. Otherwise, they have no option but to accept it because there is no money. Alright, so don't be swayed by somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. That's why this instruction is there first. If for any reason you don't understand and comprehend any of the statements and warnings, you should get somebody else who knows what they're doing, a superior officer or a judge of the high court, okay, or other competent legal counsel who can immediately explain the significance of this presentment as per your duties. We're not going to put statutes there because they're obligated by statute to accept these in respect of this private to public securities instrument. Okay, so your failure to respond within the lawful time prescribed by giving me notice that you have zeroed the account, right, shall cause me to execute a certificate of non-response or non-performance. So if they don't respond 33 days, you give them a certificate, and that's about it. Once you certify somebody's action, they're more or less done. Now, if you certify it through a notary, that's the end of their story. I mean, now, for something small like this one, you could probably use a solicitor to witness it. The certificate of non-response, you see. So you're going to draft your certificate of non-response after 30 days, right? Get a solicitor to witness it, and then make a copy for yourself. Make another copy, two copies, send one to Treasury and send one to them, and tell them not to bother you again, sending you another correspondence regarding that particular matter, because their dishonor has been certified and witnessed by one of their officers of their court, which is a solicitor. Alright, now, blah blah blah, where are we? Said certificate of non-response shall serve as evidence of your acceptance. That is in accordance with bills of exchange. Alright? If you send somebody either promissory note or one of these money order gyros, and they don't respond, they don't send it back citing dishonor or deficiency, then it's evidence of their acceptance. Yeah. Alright. Now, so whereas on the date that you're sending, the tender is deemed accepted for set off of the account pursuant to and evidenced by the record enclosed herewith. Right? ABC? And then you give them the terms of how to serve you correspondence. We tell we want, what do you call it? A recorded delivery only. We don't take a whole bunch of crap. Recorded delivery only. Frank mail is going to be sent back to you. We want recorded delivery, so that if they make any false representation, we can refer the matter to the post office about how their service is being used to make false representations and how they should stop it. I mean, right. And then you put it, you put your details there. So that's you, care of, your location. Right now, service by any other means shall be deemed defective on its face and will receive absolutely no recognition, acknowledgement, and or response. So if they send their response by pigeon, you don't acknowledge it. Alright? Service by any other means except this. Okay? UPU, post office. UPU, post office special delivery. Or by a recognized process server or by hand. Yep. And then you do executed by me. On this you put the day of the year, and this has to be your free will enact. Under your hand and seal, your hand is your autograph, your seal is your thumbprint. Without prejudice, without recourse. Without prejudice means you're not interested in any arguments with them. You don't want to go to court. You don't want a bogus trial. Without recourse means once you've done this set off and discharged the charge, they cannot come back to you. You've done your bit. And then you autograph it by blah blah blah. This was authorized representative of. You put your strawman name there, and that's how you do a AFV letter. Oh, how it used to be done in 2 years ago, 2016 or 2015, around those days. Okay. So I hope that's straightforward, ladies and gentlemen. Little boys and girls, you know what you're talking about. Monkey people, you have no clue. Keep digging a hole and filling it in. Alright? So I hope that was good, and it's pretty easy to get. If there are any questions, we're going to answer them at the meets. Yeah. So we'll keep banging, and we'll keep kicking this guy's ass. The monkey, we're going to shove the monkey out. How it is.